I agree with Senator Booker. This confirmation is too important for us to conceal documents that may reveal the nominee's views, and I think we shouldn't be proceeding under these grounds.
Mr. Chairman, maybe you recognize, sir?
I hope you don't say the same thing again.
Sir, I will not. And first of all, I will say something that I haven't said, which is I appreciate the patience of Job that you're showing here. And I just also want to say to the representations from Senator Kennedy and Senator Lee were right on point, right on correct. They stood strong last night, challenged me, but they not only were collegial, but they looked to find a fair way to deal with this process, and I want to express my appreciation. I want to clarify something that I said before. There is no Senate rule that accounts for this process, period. This is not a Senate rule. I did not violate a Senate rule. But I will pause. I will pause. There is no Senate rule that I violated, because there's no Senate rule that accounts for this process. And I say to a chairman that I respect, that I believe has been fair and good to me, I will say that I did willingly violate the chair's rule on the committee confidential process. I take full responsibility for violating that, sir. And I violated because I sincerely believe that the public deserves to know this nominee's record. In this particular case, his record on issues of race and the law. And I could not understand, and I violated this rule knowingly, why these issues should be withheld from the public. Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. My colleagues, numerous of them, said that they too accept the responsibility. There were very serious charges that were made against me by my colleague from Texas. I don't know if they were political bluster or sincere feelings. If what he said was sincere, there actually are Senate rules governing the behavior of senators. If he feels that I, and now my fellow colleagues who are with me, have violated those rules, if he is not a tempest in a teapot, but sincerely believes that, then bring the charges. Go through the Senate process to take on somebody that you said is unbecoming to be a senator. Let's go through that process, because I think the public should understand that at a moment that somebody's up for a lifetime appointment, that this issue, does the public have a right to know? This is not about the Presidential Records Act. This is not a violation of the Presidential Records Act, not a violation of Senate rules, sir. But if somebody's going to land those charges, I hope that they will follow through with me and Senator Durbin, Senator Coons, Senator Whitehouse, Senator Hirono, Senator Blumenthal, now Senator Feinstein. I hope that they will bring charges against us. And I'm ready to accept the full responsibility for what I have done, the consequences for what I have done, and I stand by the public's right to have access to this document and know this nominee's views on issues that are so profoundly important, like race and the law, torture, and other issues.
Mr. Chairman, may I read the Senate Rule 29.5, the standing rules of the Senate, for the benefit of all senators. Any senator, officer, or employee of the Senate who shall disclose the secret or confidential business or proceedings of the Senate, including the business and proceedings of the committees, subcommittees, and offices of the Senate, shall be liable, if a senator, to suffer expulsion from the body, and if an officer or employee, to dismissal from the service of the Senate and to punishment or contempt. So I would correct the senator's statement. There is no rule. There is clearly a rule that applies.
Then apply the rule
Chairman,
and bring the charges.
Mr. Chairman, all of us are ready to face that rule on the bogus designation of committee confidential. Just because there is a Senate rule doesn't mean it can be misapplied or misconstrued or misused. And I think even the threat raised by one of my colleagues here is unfortunate. And that is a kind way of putting it, with all due respect. And I would just make one other point. We're dealing here with a lifetime appointment. Nothing we do here is more serious than confirming a justice on the United States Supreme Court. Let the American people appreciate that we are here in the most solemn responsibility we have under the Constitution. We need the full truth. Just as this nominee is sworn to give it to us, we are entitled to it from our colleagues. And the question is, what are they concealing by this procedure? What are they afraid the American people will see? What are they afraid we would be asking of this nominee if we had all of those documents that have been denied us in this sham and charade?